All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, I wanted to talk to you guys about my thoughts on the next patch before it dropped. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this video now, and then we'll kind of see what happens later. Wanted to talk, this is just going to be just random thoughts and like a mini vent session. And I figured we kind of all need it, because people have been very frustrated with the game. I see it in the comments all the time, and I'm not ignoring you guys, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that in this video because, I appreciate you guys, even though you're frustrated with the game, like you still, want to come chat with me, I guess. So I think that's pretty cool, and I want to, let you know that I see what you're talking about, and, let's talk about it. So let's first talk about this next patch. I've gotten asked this quite a few times, my thoughts on the patch and what I think about it, and where I think it's going to be going. And from a balanced perspective, I like it a lot. Like, this is the most excited I have been about a patch in about a year. Like, I'm very excited about where this is going from a PvP perspective. And the reason that is because, as you guys know, I like to talk about balance changes, and whether we agree or disagree, that doesn't matter. Like we're just chatting. Like, we're two different people. We disagree. That's fine. But I like to talk about, I've talked quite a few times about the meta that we're currently in, and in my opinion, it's very tanky right now. Even with like glass cannon setups, you're just very tanky due to high healing and all these other sorts of things. And I wish damage was higher. You shouldn't be tanky in medium. That just doesn't really make any sense. And you are, just because of where healing's at. I've talked about healing. I've talked about how like defensive sets in general are more powerful than offensive sets. Like nobody bats an eye about Pariah, giving 10 or 11,000 resistances, but if you have 10 or 11,000 pen, people lose their mind, like stun. So those sorts of things kind of happen in PvP a lot, and I've talked about how it'd be nice if we had better damage sets. If defensive sets weren't as powerful, if healing was a little bit lower, and if all these other sorts of things happened, and they kind of did it all. They addressed healing through Battle Spirit, which, if you guys have been a long time viewer of this channel, I've talked about Battle Spirit for a while. I really have, and I think it's fantastic. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like, I had a good discussion about healing in PvP, and somebody made a good comment, and they said, hey, in PvE, this much healing is needed because people are actually struggling from a healing perspective. And I don't do much trials right now. I got 2 daughters. I can't really schedule. Maybe I can now, but I couldn't schedule times to do trial raids at night. So that made sense, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense. We should address PvP healing through Battle Spirit. All these PvP changes should go through Battle Spirit because, PvP and PvE are two different things. Who cares if Zon crits in PvE? You do care if Zon is critting in PvP. And so you could make these adjustments, and that way we don't have this PvE versus PvP battle every time. Like, oh yeah, the PvP players are whining again. This is happening. PvE players, they don't have any thumbs, and now they're upset that their favorite set's getting removed. It's exhausting. I don't like doing that stuff. I hate reading it. I hate seeing it. It's dumb. Like, Battle Spirit's there. We can just completely eliminate that, and we can, go on with the game and our favorite aspects of the game. And they did that. They reduced healing by 20% in PvP through Battle Spirit. So, awesome for me, and then, I think it's awesome. And then they came out with Master's Dual Wield, which gives Stam classes a viable spammable outside of D-Swing, which is what people have been talking about. Like, D-Swing's so good, it's the only really good spammable outside of like Surprise Attack and Jabs, and it'd be nice if there were more spammables in weapon skill lines so that we weren't stuck with D-Swing. Well, they just did it with the Master's Dual Wield. It's great, BRP Dual Wield. I talked about Major Protection and all these other sorts of things, and they got rid of Major Protection on BRP Dual Wield, and they added more damage to it. And so now we have another high damage set. We have Stun coming out, which is a high damage set. The Master's Destro Staff is another high damage set for magic attunes that honestly, it's a much needed buff for a few specs, like Magica Warden and Magica Necromancer. It's going to fit in perfectly, and it's going to help give them some bursts that they were missing, I think. 700 unbuffed spell damage is no joke on a freaking 2-piece set. Like, that's awesome. All those changes, I think, are really good. Now, Does this mean that there's not going to be imbalance in PvP? Of course not. Of course there will be. There's always going to be some sort of imbalance, and they didn't really go after class changes. You know, they came out and they said, we're not focused on class stuff this patch, we're focused on performance. And that's why we're not having any class changes. So Stamina Necromancer, still going to be really good. Magicka Necromancer outside of Harmony Bombing, probably not so much. Magicka DK outside of group play, and you're trying to play it solo, probably not so much. But that's so, I mean, those individual things can get adjusted, but like the base was nice. And I thought those changes were pretty good, you know, and so I'm excited, like, if the game functions, to see what PvP is going to look like, because I think it's going to be a lot more fun. I think it's a good gradual step in the right direction, and then we'll eventually, you know, just kind of work around the edges and slowly improve and balance other classes and make things more, you know, competitive. But yeah, from a patch note perspective, I like just about all of it. I was very excited. I'm still very excited for this patch coming out tomorrow. And yeah, but that is a huge but. And I'm not talking about, you know, what we're sitting on right now or anything. It's just, I am excited for the patch if performance is good. Now, I've talked about it before. I've talked about it on previous videos about how performance trumps the game, you know, balance issues or other things. And I get comments on my YouTube videos all the time, like, oh, this looks good, if performance is bad. And I know a lot of people are really frustrated. I totally get it. I sympathize with you guys. I'm frustrated too. You know, I like to go and play an open world PvP, and I really can't. You know, I started playing the last week and it's been super laggy. I didn't play open world PvP for about 2 months. I just did Battlegrounds because it was just so annoying to not be able to weapon swap and CC break. And you know, I'm already engaging in harder fights, you know, fighting outnumbered, trying to fight a bunch of people. And if I can't weapon swap and I take a bunch of damage for an extra second, I'm dead. You know, like, it's already hard enough to 1vx. It's almost impossible to 1vx in really bad lag when you can't, when your skills aren't firing, when you have to hit CC break 4 times and you drain all your stamina, and then you do CC break and you somehow live, but now you're out of stam, and the next time you get CC'd you die. It's really frustrating. So like I said, I agree with you guys, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm, you know, ignoring performance, because I'm not. You know, I like to try and, you know, on this channel, I like to post fun stuff, I like to post build stuff, and I like to post informational stuff, you know, and I bounce back and forth between all of them. And when I do informational stuff, I try to provide my opinion, but I only really try to focus on that thing. And so, you know, as an example, if we're going to bring up, you know, I was just talking about Masters Dual Wield. If I brought up Masters Dual Wield in like every single video, you know, for 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, yeah, you know, Magicka DK could really use Masters Dual Wield. I don't fucking know. I think you guys understand where I'm going with this, but if I kept bringing up something that I already brought up in another video, it gets wearing to me. Like, to me personally, it gets wearing and it gets exhausting, and it's like, it just doesn't help people in the channel. Like, most of us that are watching, like most people that are watching my videos, they're playing and enjoying the game. You know, we can be frustrated with performance, but we can still enjoy the game. I still enjoy playing this game, even though performance hasn't been good, because Battlegrounds still works for me. Like, I hop into Battlegrounds and I have a great time. You know, I have a great time doing BGs because my skills are firing, and PvP, when PvP works on ESO, is the best combat I have had in any game ever. And so, yeah, I'm disappointed with open world PvP, but Battlegrounds will suffice for now. And so, yeah, I just basically want to say, like, I agree with you guys, but I'm just not going to bring it up in every single video. But that's what this video is for. We're going to talk about performance, and we're going to talk about this next patch, because they didn't do, like I said, they didn't do many class-specific balance changes. They said that this is a performance patch, and I'm very excited for it. Like, I'm very excited to see what their first, like, the first one was, like, you know, load times and whatever. This is supposed to be one of the bigger, it's not the biggest one, but it's supposed to be one of the better performance patch updates. And I've been waiting a year to see what these are going to be. And so it's a wait and see game, you know, until we load up the game and see how it's going to function with all the changes that they did. We're not going to know what it is. And that's why I haven't really talked about it a lot. It's like, well, You know, everybody's saying that performance trumps build and class diversity, and I completely agree. And they said that this is a performance patch. They're doing what, you know, what we say is important and what they think is important, and it's like, okay, well, why even talk about it anymore? But I will say this. I just have to, before we dive into this any further, as players of this game, we get really selfish, you know, like in general, like we do get kind of selfish, like everybody. I think if I did a survey tomorrow and I said what's more important right now for the game, performance or balance changes, I bet like 95% of the people would say performance. They would say performance 95%. The game it doesn't matter what the patch is if performance isn't good, right? But when ZOS came out, like somebody posted in the PTS forums, and they're like, hey, you know, what do you think, you know, why are we getting any class changes? And, you know, ZeniMax is like, no, this is a performance patch. That's what they said. And a lot of players lost their minds because they were like, nope, this is bullshit because we have too much imbalance right now. You should be focused on this. You should be doing this. And it's like, you know, we all agree that performance is important, and they're setting the other stuff aside to work on it, and that's not enough. You know, it's like, yeah, I know you're working hard, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I need more. You need to give me more. And, you know, if you're one of those people that believes that performance is important and that's the most important thing, and then you were also one of those people that was commenting in that post, oof, like that, yikes. Like, well, it's a wait and see game, you know. That's how I'm looking at it. But yeah, because this is a performance patch, we have to judge this patch based off of its performance. And, you know, I'm going to wait and see. And when the game loads up, when I load into the game tomorrow, I'm going to hop in open world PvP during primetime hours, and I'm going to see if it's better. You know, I want to see improvements. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, there's bigger performance patches coming in quarter 3 and quarter 4 of this year, so I totally get that this isn't going to fix everything. But if it stays the same, or if it gets worse, this patch will be a failure by ZeniMax, because their entire focus this patch was that it's a performance patch. We're going to improve performance this patch. So if performance doesn't improve, and if performance stays the same, it's a failure. You know, it didn't improve, it's a failure. It got worse, it's a failure. And so I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see, you know, what the patch is tomorrow, and I want to get you guys that information. You guys on console, I know you guys are chomping at the bit like, hey, is PvP working? I have friends. I know. I have friends, guys. I have a friend that plays Black Desert. You know, he plays BDO. And, you know, he'd love to come back to ESO. Excuse me, sorry about that. A few of my friends would love to come back to ESO because they like it's not that they dislike BDO, they just like ESO's combat. And so if ESO all of a sudden had functioning PvP, a lot of players would come back. They'd probably play both, but they would definitely come back to ESO. Some players, you know, they've moved on to BDO. BDO is just fun for them, and the game works, and they're happy, and they're not coming back because they're tired of this. So we've already lost quite a few players, but I think we're going to lose quite a few more if we don't see market changes this patch. And, you know, as an example, I follow the Asian God on YouTube because, you know, I really like his PvE stuff. I haven't done PvE in forever, but I try to stay up to date, you know. And sometimes PvE stuff crosses over into PvP. It's helpful. He's a really good resource. He's not been happy this patch, and you know, he made a post a couple weeks ago about how, you know, he's going to take a break from the game because, you know, you're basically farming instances, hoping that you have a good instance for PvP, and that's the only way you're going to, you know, have a competitive score run, which is really, I mean, it's the same thing as us PvPers are dealing with. You know, it's really frustrating. And he said he's going to take a break, and he's tired of, you know, what's going on and how they're not fixing it, and I totally get that. And, you know, he made the comment that he's going to provide build information on his channel, and, you know, help keep people updated with the game and everything. And I think that's awesome, you know, because once you have that knowledge for PvE and trial stuff, like you can kind of do the math on different parses and everything, and he's very good at it. So he can provide that up-to-date information, which is great. For me, when I'm done with this game, I will not be doing that. And it's not because, you know, I don't want to help you guys out. It's because I can't. You know, Whether or not you guys like or dislike my builds, that's not the point. I test all my builds. My builds are what I run, you know, what I think works best for me. And I go through testing where I test other gear, different weapon combinations, all these sorts of things, and I play them, you know, for at least a week before I post them. And the minute it starts feeling good and I start getting 1vx's and I feel like it's in a good spot, then I post the build. If I quit this game, I will not be able to give you guys the content that I think you deserve. And so, yeah, a lot of us are just kind of waiting to see. You know, you watch people on Twitch, and not to name drop, but a lot of Twitch streamers are like, well, I'm seeing how this patch goes. You know, we're going to see, because performance is bad right now. It's not good. And I think that's kind of all why we're excited. You know, it's like, you know, when you had to, I don't know. I had this happen when I asked my wife out for the first time, but I was so nervous about asking her out. Like, I was very nervous because I was worried that she was going to say no, and it like ate at me for a bit. And I finally was like, you know what? This is bugging the shit out of me. I just need an answer. I need an answer. I need to just ask her out, and if she says no, I can move on with my life. I like, it's going to suck, but I'll move on, you know? And I asked her out, and she said no. She said no, but I felt okay. You know, there was like this relief off my chest. I was like, thank God, like I finally have an answer. I can go move on. I can stop thinking about this. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, well, she's wrong. She's wrong. We ended up starting to date 10 months later. But my point is this is like the asking out stage. You know, like this patch is like the asking out stage that I had with my wife, where it's like, you know, I have 1 foot in and I have 1 foot out, like maybe looking at other games, and this patch is going to kind of decide it, not only for me, but for a lot of players. You know, is this going to improve? Do I stick with this game? Do I really invest in farming mythics? Well, if performance sucks, why would I? You know, like, this is a performance patch. If performance isn't getting better, why am I going to invest my time and my money into a game that's not getting better? And I think that's why a lot of us are, like, the other reason why I'm excited is because whether or not performance is good or bad tomorrow, I'll kind of know what I want to do. You know, like if I see market improvement and, you know, it's still lagging, there's skill delay, because I'm not expecting skill delay to be fixed tomorrow, but if some like performance feels better, I'll be like, okay, they're making improvements. All right, cool. Like maybe I'll go farm out my boots that I love so much. You know, maybe I'll go do this. If performance is really bad, you know, maybe I start looking at New World, because it's already got my attention. I'm probably going to play it anyways, but yeah, that'll just be the kick in the ass I need to actually go play another game for the first time in like 6 years. So yeah, that's where I stand. I'm with a lot of you guys. You know, I want open world PvP. I really do. Like I love open world PvP. I love this game. Like I've talked to you for 18 minutes now about ESO. I clearly love this game. I'm not trying to be salty or anything like that. I know they have a hard job. I know currently with the entire coronavirus situation, them working from home, it's going to be tough to upload a patch. So I'm not expecting everything to be perfect on day one. I'm not. You know, I have realistic expectations, but I am hoping that a performance patch actually brings performance. So that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. This is going to be the shit post video. So if you have anything you want to vent about this game, whether it's running on top of your mount, running underneath your mount, your weapons disappearing underneath you, and when you're weapon swapping, not being able to weapon swap, not being able to CC break, not being able to heal, whatever freaking glitch bugs you the most, get it off your chest. Post it in the video below, you know, in the comment section below. Tell me what bugs you the most about this game, and let's just have a fresh start for a new patch tomorrow. And that's kind of my thoughts. So thank you for watching, guys. Appreciate all of you. Have a nice day.